Hello and welcome to Future Simple Friday Live episode 14. Today I am joined by the wonderful acceleration managers. Is it acceleration managers?
Yes.
At the accelerator. I was like, what's the title again? Entrepreneur Acceleration Manager.
Yeah. Well
yes. With Melinda and Gill. I have literally dragged them in. And we're all going to answer some of our questions today. So I'll hand over and they can introduce themselves and a bit about what they do, and then I'll ask them a few questions, and then we'll get on to the usual stuff.
Fabulous. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'm Melinda. I'm one of the acceleration managers in Edinburgh. I've been doing the role now for 4 years, and I've been working with entrepreneurs for something scary like 14, 15 years. Absolutely love my job. Love every day of it. Helping to entrepreneurs meet their potential is a really rewarding job to have.
Cool. And I'm the other half of this double act. So I am the other acceleration manager here in Edinburgh. My background is a kind of marketing PR. I used to work for Weber Shandwick, and then set up a data recovery company with my husband and recovered data from faulty hard drives. Eventually did a small exit with that, and then came and thought I would help other people not make the mistakes that I had made. So and learn lots of new things actually. So I have learned so much from talking to hundreds of entrepreneurs. You just learn something new every day.
How many do you think you have worked with?
I don't know.
Didn't we work it out at one stage?
Yeah, I mean it is hundreds. It
hundreds. Must be about 1,000 each.
Must be about 1,000.
Broaching on 1,000 each.
Absolutely.
And do you remember us all, or do you after a while do you go?
I remember every business. I'll forget the person completely, but I will never forget the business concept.
I'm the opposite. As I'll remember the person who I worked with if I coached them.
Yeah.
When we do the other programs, it's harder to know them if it's a one-day event. But if you've coached somebody, you form quite a bond with them. So,
yeah. Okay. And what would you say is the highlight of what you do?
I think we're beginning to see, because we've been doing this for a while, we're beginning to see the fruits of something from concept go on a shelf. We had Jamie from Active Water, and we said that I think I smiled from ear to ear to see somebody who'd come in with just an idea and then have something that's doing really well. I think that's that, and building teams, and I think that's amazing. That's where I get my kicks.
Yeah, I think it's that seeing that development in the business. So I've got some from when I first started in Leeds, and I was talking to a couple of them over the weekend on Facebook, and one of them is just going. His business is just building so rapidly, and he's just got so much potential, and it's just lovely to see that journey for people, but also individually. So some people, it's about their personal development on how they've come from somebody who's, let's just say, not confident in what they're doing to really blooming and being able to come across as incredibly credible.
That's such a good point, because we've seen that in a couple of presentations recently where we've both just gone, wow. We saw them at the beginning, and we see them now, talking in front of lots of people really eloquently with real passion about what they're doing. We thought, gosh, that was that person quivering doing a 1-minute pitch, whatever it was, a year ago, whatever. So,
and sharing the concepts that we go through with other people. That's just amazing to see when they're sharing the concepts that we talk about a lot, and how those theories and concepts have made such a big difference to their businesses. So that's the highlights.
And is there any challenges?
There are challenges, I think,
in a polite way.
I think, what are the challenges? I think it's sometimes there's a lot of motion involved. I think that's quite something we don't necessarily always have taken to. You can go from one meeting where somebody's on a real high, and then your next meeting somebody's really struggling, and that's a kind of wee roller coaster that you go on with people through the day. So that can be at the end of the day. We try quite a lot to kind of offload to each other to go.
To share it.
To share it, so you can kind of. I suppose that's one of the challenges, but
not taking on everybody else's.
Not taking on, and I think that's over time. You learn to because you really care. I know it sounds pathetic, but you do really care, and you get, as Melinda said, you build up a relationship. So when somebody's having a tough time, it's quite difficult not to worry or not to take that on board.
I think
that's
not take it home with you.
The main,
I think I agree. It's the emotions you'll go through in a day, and our role as a coach is to go from pull that person up to there if they're feeling low, but pull that person who's too high back down to, right, what we're going to do, what's the practical things we're going to do to move forward and accelerate your business. So it's that constant, I guess it's that not knowing what you're going to have in a session.
And you must have so many different ones because you see so many different people in a day. You'll go from having someone that's quite low to someone that's doing really, and you've got to just kind of
get the right
navigate your way.
And it's what makes the job amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, we're incredibly lucky. But it's also the challenge of managing yourself, I think, in that situation.
And so, you've come from having your own business and doing this. But do you ever think, should I go back and do that?
All the time.
Or do you think, actually, I really like standing back? And because for you, do you do the same thing as well? Do you go, oh, I really wish I'm going to go, and then you're like, oh, I quite like just helping everyone else. Not saying because it's a big thing that you do.
I love helping other people. There is that in my vision in the future. 10-year vision, there is a beach retreat where I can support people in different ways. So yeah, it's definitely there. But it's I think it's
so I'm slightly, having done it, I know how hard it is. So there's a bit of me that thinks, why on earth would I ever want to go back? Give me a gun, it'd be less painful. But there's that little bit of me that feels you're not quite in the race. That I'm there's a slight jealousy, particularly when you see somebody doing really well.
Yeah.
You think, but then I haven't got it. Currently, there's nothing that I think, right, I could take that to market and that's a brilliant idea or a concept, or I want to make a big, we were talking the other day about disrupting and feeling that you can do something better. I don't have anything in my head right now so it would be a very Me Too thing if I did anything right now. So, and I do really enjoy this role. Yeah. If my employers are watching, I do genuinely.
She's going to cook at my retreat as well.
I'm going to come I'll make bread and soup and stuff.
Okay, so we'll move on to the cards. So we just shuffled these up. There's a few. Well, that's the thing, because you don't know. You just pick them up, see what happens.
Now I know what you guys have to go through.
What's she going to ask me now? I'll shuffle them up. I'll put a timer on. I will just time it on my watch today, now that I've worked out how to do it. And I'll get going. So let's just go this way again. Okay. Who wants to start?
I'll go first.
Go on then.
I'll just pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read it out. You can either answer it yourself or we can answer it as a team.
Underrated marketing activity. I'm going to go back. Actually, I've got one for this. Direct mail. Because years and years ago, I worked in a direct marketing agency. Actually, worked for Saatchi & Saatchi Direct in the Far East a long, long time ago, and that's went out of fashion. Understandably, there was it was people getting junk mail and stuff. Now to get a letter, to get actual direct mail or a clever piece of direct mail and direct marketing is underrated. So that would be my.
It is coming back. Yeah, it's definitely coming back, especially with GDPR.
Yeah,
because
of course.
Because direct mail doesn't come under it. Actual physical mail doesn't come under GDPR.
Right.
So you can send it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can send people stuff to their addresses, but you can't email or phone spam them. So direct mail doesn't come under it.
So all my old skills might come back.
I'm now questioning that. When you're like, when you say that, and you're like, oh god,
double
is
check
that actually right? I'll
double check that, folks.
I'm pretty sure you can do it by postcode. There's definitely ways of doing it. There's definitely ways that you can still use direct mail, because there has been kind of an uplift in picking it back up. But there is definitely something to say, because it is such a rarity that it's going to catch your attention a bit more than an email that comes in, and your emails are just constantly going out.
And if your emails are so easy to delete, aren't they? And yet a letter is something that might, or whatever it is, a piece of direct mail might linger a bit more
on the sideboard.
On the sideboard, or not.
I'll come back to it.
Yes, that would be my underrated marketing activity.
That's a good one. Go on then. It's not that nerve-wracking.
How has your mental health been this week? Very well for me, to be honest. I've just moved into my new flat, so very exciting, which I think would do anybody's mental health good, because I overlook Arthur's seat. And it's just absolutely stunning. The only problem is I'm finding it hard to leave the flat, because I just want to look out the window all day. But so I think it's at a healthy level. It's something that I'm very conscious of, so I do a lot of mindfulness and meditation in the morning to make sure that I'm getting the most out of the day.
Yeah. Good for you.
you guys?
I like that. Yeah, mine's a bit up and down this week. I don't know. I've been I've just lots going on, but you know when you just get to that point where you're like, actually I can't physically find a reason. I'm just not feeling right.
Yeah.
I was sitting on the tram on the way in this morning with my music on, and you know when you've got like certain music brings back certain memories and certain emotions and things, and I was just like, oh. And I've decided I really miss my piano. I used to play the piano. I've played the piano since I was like tiny, and it used to come everywhere with me. It was like my criteria for buying a house. I had to be able to fit a piano in it. And then children, and it just doesn't. Funnily enough, piano isn't quite as high as a child on the what can you fit into your house thing. So I had to say bye to my piano, and I was like, oh, it was always my therapy. It was always my go-to thing to kind of release.
Yeah,
to
that's
go and
you
play
need
an
that.
instrument.
You definitely need that.
And I was sitting, I was like, where can I go and play the piano? But yeah, there's a little shop in Stockbridge now that has a piano in the corner, so I might visit there on the weekend.
Do they still have it at the train station?
There is still at the train station. Haymarket though, you have to have a ticket to be able to get to the piano.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah.
And funnily enough, I'm not going to buy a ticket to Glasgow just to sit and play on it. They'll maybe let me through if I ask just to sit.
Yeah, I think they would.
But yeah, we shall see.
Good.
But yeah.
Yeah, mine is been okay this week. I think done lots of therapy things. I actually had a quilting bee on Saturday, so which was a definite boost to my mental health, and I think. So we're making a quilt for somebody actually who passed away about 5 years ago, and it's for her daughter. And we started it when this lady passed away, and then we, for lots of reasons, didn't use it. So we were finishing off on Saturday, and so it was a whole bunch of women in a room sewing, eating scones that my husband made, bless him, and drinking cups of tea and just chatting, and that was wonderful for mental health. It was a real kind of. I came away the rest of the day. I kept on saying to my husband how great it was. He was going, I can't believe it was really great. So that was a really nice start to our part of my weekend. So
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
Oh, I like stuff like that. Okay. Back on the marketing front. Example of a marketing campaign that really got attention. So we did have an interesting point last week when we were with Peter at STV. He said it's funny how when you say marketing campaign, everyone just automatically thinks of an ad campaign or an advertisement on TV. And I do as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then I was like trying to think of what a marketing campaign that isn't just advertising. But it's much harder to understand what that is from the outside.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different subtle elements to it.
Do you know the thing that always gets me, and this is a really weird thing, but it's the sky vans.
Yes.
Do you know how vivid, they're so vivid, aren't they? And you think, gosh, that's such an effective use. They've got all these vans going around. They could do something really dull with them, but they don't. They do something. They're so incredible. They're just splashed, huge
the
images.
The Virgin ones as well are like Obi-Wan Kenobi. They've all got names that relate to films, things like that are quite good.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the Gritters too.
Yeah.
But one I did see that was really good. It was really interesting. This is maybe just only people that know toddlers. Baby Shark. Have you heard of Baby Shark?
Baby Shark.
Yeah.
There you go. It's only one of our colleagues that
in
told
your
me.
head forever.
First semester did it.
Baby Shark. Yeah, they did, and they had it on. Was it the X? Is it still the X? The X Factor as well? Yeah. But yeah, it's this viral tune that's gone around, and it's Baby Shark and it's like that, and then it's Mummy Shark, Daddy Shark, and the best one is Grandpa Shark because it's gone around. It's very cute, but everyone seems to think it's just blown up this year. They had it on ITV. They had it. The This Morning guys did it. Everyone's done versions of this Baby Shark, but actually, it was developed by a South Korean company about 10-15 years ago.
Really? Wow.
And they launch various different videos. They launch about 10 to 50 videos. See which one gets traction in which country.
Right.
Develop it in a certain way, and there's serious science behind that song going viral.
Wow.
And how much intelligence they've put into it, and where they start it in the world. So I think that one was started in Asia, and then it went to America, and then it came to Central Europe before it even got to the UK.
Wow. Okay.
And they've got this kind of rating where if it reaches so many shares or it gets so many likes, they'll create a few different versions of that song in different videos and test how well they work. And then whichever ones of those work, it's like a huge test and learn that they do over thousands, not thousands, but it's such a long time
Wow.
before it becomes something that's really big. And then they make millions off that one thing, but how many they have that don't? But just to think of, when you think of something like that and you just think, oh, it's just a fluke that's gone viral, and you're like, oh God. Or it's like the other one is the egg. Have you seen the egg, the Instagram egg?
No.
There's this Instagram egg that is something about one of the most popular tweets on Instagram was one of the things that was liked had millions of likes, and it was by like Kylie Jenner, and someone literally posted, here is an egg, let's see if we can get more likes than Kylie Jenner. And it's now got like 6 million odd things, and it's going around, and everyone's trying to work out whether it is an individual person that just happened to have a great idea, or actually is there some sort of clever marketing team behind it that are going to lead on to
something else. What's coming?
What's coming from this. And it's literally just a picture of an egg on a white background.
Wow.
Nothing more interesting than that.
Okay. Let's have a look for that on Instagram.
Very strange.
I haven't seen it.
But yeah.
Oh,
So there's
another one. Challenge currently working to overcome. Gosh, that's a good one. I suppose it is. I come across a lot of entrepreneurs that are perfectionists. I don't suffer from that. My challenge and my sort of thing that I started the year with, bizarrely, I watched a documentary because I'm a Netflix addict, and it was a restaurant in New York, and they were getting 7 days in, and it's the attention to detail of getting this restaurant right. It was that aiming for excellence, getting crossing the T's and dotting the I's. So that's my slapdashness is the challenge which I'm currently trying to overcome. That's my current. I just want to up my level of quality in everything I do. That's
still not perfectionist though.
No, I'll never be a perfectionist. I don't think there's any Melinda's worked with me for 2 years. I think she'll know that there's no chance of me ever becoming a perfectionist. But just pushing myself beyond that kind of good enough is it's always been my mantra. Good enough is good enough. Well, sometimes actually
you can take it a little bit.
You can take it beyond that. You can polish a little. You can. It's not about trying harder. It's just being aware that if I really want to do this in a really good way, in a really excellent way, what would I then do? Would I go back and do that? What would I do?
Would you improve?
What would I improve? So that's my kind of challenge. My slapdashness is my current challenge.
I thought you were going to say that it was to try and be less perfectionist, but that's
no.
Yeah.
Mine would probably be to a perfectionist is probably the.
Very.
I do like to do things right, and I think sometimes it's I hold myself to a really high regard with that. So I'm all high standards with that. So I'm always I need to work on not beating myself up if I don't quite. And it's what I tell you guys all the time. What we talk about all the time.
It's so much harder to do it yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. So for me, it is making sure that I'm aware that everything can't be perfect, and I can't.
Because there is the perfectionist blocker, isn't there? Which probably you guys come across a lot, where you're striving so much for it to be perfect that it just never guts out. Yeah. You just don't do it because it's not perfect, and sometimes you just have to go with what you've got.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's good within this team actually is we're trained to do what we do with you guys.
No question. Do you find yourself questioning yourself the way that you do us sometimes?
Yes, more than I ever would. And I think that's one thing this job did for me, is it made me really look at myself, and that self-awareness piece of thinking I was self-aware when I came into this position, and realising no, I wasn't at all, but continually the growth mindset stuff is the biggest thing for me.
That's what I was going to say actually. The growth I thought I had quite a growthish mindset without knowing exactly what growth mindset was at the time, but then when you go down that list, you're like, I think I'm actually more fixed in some of these than I thought I was.
Yeah, and you can be in any situation. So I think for myself now, it's challenging myself when I feel myself going into that fixed mindset to go, what is the trigger? What is it that's getting me into that? How can I work on myself to improve that going forward? But again, to give myself some freedom if I do make a mistake and go into that fixed mindset it happens, but it's just about learning and moving on.
Yeah. I was telling you that I've had to do the same thing and always beat myself up for it. So I've now created myself a learning spreadsheet. I'm a real geek.
Okay.
You're going to be
Like
like,
instant perfect. Slap Josh going, you need a
this
spreadsheet.
is when you go, I'm really excited, and you go, oh my god, no. You've done what?
No, not at all.
But literally just to remind myself, because I beat myself up. If something's gone wrong, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I've done that. And so I've started sort of writing it down so that at least I can go, it's there, so that next time something happens, I can look back and say, what did I learn from it last time and do it differently next time? And then it's off my chest. It's that thing of, you know how some people say, if I've got once I've written it on my to-do list, it's in some sort of order, so it's not flowing around in my head. I think it's that similar thing. So it's almost like getting the sort of partial guilt that I'm giving myself onto a list so that it means something and I've learned something from it.
Yeah,
that's just me being.
Yeah, no, I'm just far too easy on myself.
You'll be fine. It's really much healthier though.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay. Oh, best metric.
Okay, talk about this for me.
So this one's in there because I'm totally nosy. And we always talk about what metrics you measure your business by, or what metrics you kind of put in place to learn things. And I'm always really interested to see what everyone else's metrics are. Because they might have one that's better than mine, and then I can use it too.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, the best metric I would recommend to an entrepreneur is the customer cost of acquisition, because I think that's really important to understand. And it's another one I see with people all the time with businesses is when within that customer cost of acquisition, they often don't think about the own time that they're putting into something. So they're like, oh, it didn't cost me anything. You're like, well, it cost you this much time. So it's that's what I'm really passionate for the businesses that I work with.
I did that with it was really bad. We did it. My stepdaughter was doing a brownie badge.
Aww.
I think I've almost got a bit too. I think I was taking it a bit too far. Bless her. She's doing a brownie badge where she had to create something and then sell it to make money.
How were you doing the full?
I was doing
business model.
I was doing
Step back.
I was like, right. I was like, okay. So how much did it? She was making. So she was making origami stars to sell as tree decorations, and it was her own idea.
Yeah.
So she did really well with that. And then I was like, right. So how much did the paper cost? How much did the ribbon cost? How much time is it taking you to do it? And you need to, because they're not allowed to sell things in their schools, so she had to put a little letter to the teacher to get them to let her sell them.
Nice.
So I made her do all the calculations to put in the letter. But she's now in the Social Enterprise Club.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's a
go.
good start. But I did sit there and go, I can't tell if I'm taking this too far. That was trying to teach her cost per acquisition of customer, and she's 10. So now she's probably she won't ask me a question again.
Good brainy stuff though. I'm glad to see the brainies are moving on. That's good.
I know, I was like,
it's not a hostess badge anymore then, clearly.
Yeah, sell something for charity and make a profit. So this is clever. Good. Okay. Who was that?
That was you.
Me.
Did you want to have one?
Yeah, I suppose my one is just that it's learning what metrics matter in your business.
Yeah.
So every business is different, but I think focusing on, once you've got those key metrics, really focusing on them, and that's a lot of what we do, is trying to help people find out what are the metrics.
And not too many of them.
And not too many, no, absolutely. If you read Lean Analytics, it talks about, having one.
Because that's what we always find when we're talking to people when they bring us their marketing and say what's happening. So we do that initial assessment, and they're trying to track absolutely everything. And because there's so many analytics tools that can tell you absolutely everything, and they're like, what is this telling me? And I'm like, well, you need to work out what you actually want to learn from it. Yeah. And then what it's telling you. But if you just look at it, it's just going to be totally overwhelming, and you can measure too many things.
A lot of what we do is trying to find clarity in that, and that's exactly what you're talking about. Is that we find some clarity, because too much information is worse than none.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just you just drown in data.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So finding the right ones. Okay, goal for the week and how you're going to measure it. Still on metrics.
My goal for this week was to have 4 days. I've got a new app, which is drink-free days. So trying to reduce reduce my alcohol.
An app?
It's an app. Yeah, it's an app. 4 days without alcohol.
Is that your goal, or is that
That's what I've done?
So far?
No, that's what I've done so far.
Okay.
I only started on Sunday. and I'd had a glass of wine on Sunday, so I couldn't.
Did you download it with the glass of wine?
Yeah, more or less. This looks like a great idea, more or less. So yeah, trying to just make sure that I don't drink alcohol during the week.
Okay, so you've got like the weekday thing.
Weekday
so
thing,
5 days,
yeah.
and then you've actually got an app to measure it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
So
good.
and
Nice
you get
and
a
clean.
little. You get a nice little.
Does it give you a hooray?
Woohoo!
I like that.
Good job. You do well.
I like that. That's why I like a sauna so much. So when I tick things, it gives me a surprise.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? When you can tick.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
What about you? Have you got a goal for it?
My goal is, it's a reoccurring goal at the moment, is to not buy my lunch at Gogaben. So it's to make my own lunch at home. And I was doing really well. I had one slip up on Monday because I just moved. I'm making excuses now, completely pulled over the line. But I've learned from that. But it's preparing my own lunch and making my own coffee in the morning because it's saving me silly amounts of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think I've been trying to not buy coffee, and then this morning I was like, right, actually, I think I need it. Some days you're allowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
My goal, weirdly, isn't a goal for the week, but it's actually because since when we were turning all of these videos into podcasts, this is totally unbusiness related, I noticed that apparently I have worn a navy blue top in every single one of these.
Oh,
every single one.
Oh, wow.
So
just feels nothing. Well, I've just taken over clearly. So
there's nothing wrong with navy blue. It seems to be most of my wardrobe. So my goal is to not necessarily wear navy blue every day.
It's like black with me.
It's a really silly one. We have many other goals. I think my other one is to actually sort all the to-do lists out, because now Adam's moved on, sadly. I need to reassign everything so that I'm not missing stuff. Because so far I've just been kind of going through what needs to get done, but all the long-term planning I need to go through and reassign. So once everything actually just has someone else's name on it, that'll be a measure, I suppose.
That's good.
Right, what are we on? Oh, 19. Got one more.
minute, shall I quickly?
Yeah.
See,
we
we'll
can
do
do
a
a
quick
quick
fire. Anything you're looking forward to next week? Yes, I'm going to London. I'm doing a 2-day branding course, which I'm really excited about. And I also hopefully get to see my eldest daughter because she lives in London. So very excited about both of those things.
It's a good week.
Yeah, it's a good week.
What's your branding course with?
It's in Hammersmith. I think it's at the Bob School. It's so I'll tell you more about it once I come back. But yeah,
That's exciting.
it is very exciting.
Oh, what have you got next week?
It's my birthday next week.
Oh, you've got
So,
a really exciting week.
yeah.
She's 45, you know. She's
I know, I look amazing, don't I? I'm going to a spa. So
Oh, lovely. So have you taken a couple of days off already?
got, yes, Monday and Tuesday off work. So
Nice.
yeah.
Can't
wait.
treat yourself.
Yes.
That's nice. I've just got a crazy busy week with work, which is very good in a work sense. So we've got five or six different client things going on all next week. So I'm going to do lots of breathing in between.
Good.
So
Always
yeah,
good.
it's exciting. It's a good week, but I'm just like, okay, and breathe.
Yeah.
But yes, so that was quite a good question to end on,
It was good.
actually, for next week. I have a couple of people lined up for guests next week, so I will confirm during the week who we've got next week. But thank you very much. Thank you both for joining me.
No, thank you.
And answering my questions and disrupting your afternoon. And I do have chocolate. I just forgot to bring it with me, so you can have that for the rest of your afternoon. Chocolate payment, always
Not
good.
that we need payment.
No. It's
Chocolate
a
always
chocolate thank you, not payment. Chocolate thank you. Yes, so I will post something when I have next week confirmed. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and thank you for watching or listening if you're on the podcast that we have now just launched. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.